Out here in Mojave on the 18th of July 2017, many hundreds of wind turbine pieces have been offloaded here at the Mojave Air and Spaceport. This is on the west side of the property near the railroad track, but as you can see, it's all the pieces for more wind turbines in the future in this area. The parking lot over here at the Stuart Witt Event Center is going to have to be paved. Kern County is requiring it, and the Spaceport is getting ready to put it in their budget or get some help, some grant to pave all this. Right now it's just rock.
Crazy Saturday lecture in here Saturday with Peter Merlin, an author of a book about Area 51, the mysterious place where it was built originally for the U-2, and SR-71, and some airplanes I'd never heard of or seen before, and F-117, and it was this. And we want to thank you, John. You did a sterling job of getting enough chairs in here. We had, fortunately, the fire marshal didn't come around. That's off the record. But it was really good. We really had a good crowd. It was a very interesting program.
Thank you, Mr. Devers. Are there any other community announcements? If there are none, we'll move to the consent agenda. These are non-controversial. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? Is there a motion then?
Second.
Motion by Director Valentine, second by Director Deaver. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being none, motion passes. We move to action items. 4A, staff report, please.
Good afternoon. One of the items we've identified as kind of a critical need for our equipment and technology is upgrading our handheld radios for a couple of different reasons. We want to be a little bit more compatible with what our customers are using, and the digital radios will be a little bit more secure than what we're currently using with the analog radios. We have, hopefully the directors have received the update. We received another bid back just this morning. So that should
is that the one from SC or what is it? CEI?
It's the one right behind the packet.
Oh, okay.
And then there's more on the table over here that we received.
So we do have an update to our recommendation based on this new one that we received today, which is a little bit less expensive than the one that we originally wrote up in the staff memo. We had a pretty challenging time getting some of the contractors to respond. So this is one we put another call into last week, and they just responded this morning. So this is CEI Communications, and the total quote amount is $45,211.86 as opposed to the $46,750 that we were originally proposing. I'd like to see if, Jason, do you want to add some comments to the radios, what we're intended to do?
Yeah, so basically what Karina covered. There's a few other critical needs for the radios. One of them being that the current radios are analog, which is not secure. The newer digital radios would be far more secure. They would allow us to reclaim some of our channels to give us more features and abilities. As for some of the other safety needs, they would help with our fuelers and our fire crash crews, as the radios are intrinsically safe against liquids and gases and different stuff to not create any kind of spark. Again, our current radios don't support that, so they are a hazard to our employees.
The range was another point. So one of the challenges that we've had with a lot of companies in the rocket test area is losing communication with them when they're out there testing. So the tower we've kind of resorted to using cell phones when possible, if we can't reach them by radio at the test sites.
And then a lot of these safety requirements are listed under OSHA requirements as well. And then if you need any of that information, I have it here if you want to review any of it.
So your plan is to have a repeater on the tower, or?
So we have in the bid for 2 repeaters. One is to be a spare, and then we're going to determine the best location for the first repeater.
Do you have any idea where that might be?
We've debated either this security tower or the control tower.
Okay. My concern is, you know, if we have an off-site event, that our fire and our responders have communication. The dry lake bed, for instance, letting it out there. I know that sometimes that can be a real issue. I didn't think cell phones work out there very well, so.
That's why we also included the second repeater in case of those types of emergencies, or if we do find a location that would be suitable to fulfill that need.
Okay. One thing I know that's not a big deal, but the sales tax rate was wrong on the first bid.
Okay. The rate was wrong, really?
It was 7 1/4%.
Okay, I didn't notice that. Okay. So our new recommendation is approving CEI's proposal.
Is it item for item? I mean, is it comparison exactly?
Yeah, each
Okay.
bid, item for item.
Yeah, I was concerned just having one bid. I mean, it's part of our job to spend public money wisely, and having one bid doesn't really make that. So, okay, and you might want to check his sales tax number.
Okay.
Just,
Yeah, we'll definitely do
well,
that.
it changed and caught a lot of people the first of the year, and some of them haven't noticed it, and so collecting extra, it's about $156 is what
Okay,
I calculated out.
good. That's good. Everybody thanks.
Is there any public comment on this item? Are there any further questions from members of the board? Is there a motion then to approve CEI acquisition?
Second?
Motion by Mr. Allred, second by Mr. Deaver.
I got one more question. Jason, are you gonna have software capability to do the programming on these?
Yes, I've already signed up with Motorola.
Okay, because that's an expense and it's nice to have it on site. So sorry for getting so detailed, but it's in my world. We'll be able to set up frequencies so that we can directly communicate with our tenants on their frequencies?
Correct.
Okay, and it will be secure, and by that I think you mean that people with a typical scanner aren't going to be able to eavesdrop and,
That is correct.
yeah.
All in favor to approve for CEI, say aye. Any opposed, being none, motion passes. Next
One
item.
more question.
Okay.
Where's CEI located?
Bakersfield.
Okay. Okay.
You've been watching a lot of Columbo lately.
No, I just,
Hello, last minute question.
All right. Thank you very much, though. Next item.
Item B is the CalPERS unfunded liability. We did this actually last year. We brought this to the board for consideration. We have the option of prepaying for the entire fiscal year for CalPERS unfunded liability. If we choose to prepay, it's a savings over the year of $10,000 roughly. That's not the exact amount, but it's $10,056.40. Otherwise, we can just continue paying the monthly amount, and we just forego that savings. So we opted to do it last year and save that $10,000 over the year. So we'd like to do the same thing this year if the board approves.
so,
Is there any public comment? Okay. Do you have a motion to approve?
Second.
Second by Mr. Deaver. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being none, motion passes. Item 4C.
We're currently going through our audit for fiscal years 16-17. That's underway. One of the things that has come up in the past, and we've kind of debated whether to delay bringing this to the board until we go through our entire administrative code update. But this is really becoming a kind of a burden just administratively. We currently don't have a good fixed asset policy, and there's a threshold that's been used by auditors in the past of $500, which is really challenging to work with as to capitalize any items over $500. So what we have in mind is to bump that up to $5,000, but what we're really asking the board to do is just adopt this fixed asset policy and then that would essentially give me the authority to adjust that threshold up to the $5,000 amount. So if the board has any specific questions on what this means, I'm happy to address it. It's just really challenging to account for items that low.
Thank you. Is there any public comment? All right. Yes, we should do this. $500 is ridiculous. $500 means that we have to keep track of every single thing that we purchase that's usable over the long term. It's $500 or more. It's absurd. $5,000 would be too low, but $5,000 would be customary. So I'm all
I'm
for
glad
that.
to hear that, that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
And there's a reason to.
It's absurd. $500 is absurd.
Motion to approve?
Motion approved, Mr. Allred.
Second.
Second by Mr. Valentine. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being none, motion passes. Staff report, financial report.
Well, this is because we've answered our meeting, the first meeting in July. This is for May financials. So ending, for the bank balance ending May 31st, we're down 30,000. And that's just because we're kind of wrapping up the year and we're kind of closing out a few things. You'll see the financials. We'll have one more month of it with this format, and then we will switch over to the new format that we approved.
When you say that our cash is down 30,000, which is what you said, right?
Yeah,
Because we're closing out here and we're doing a few things, what does that mean more specifically?
we're closing up the projects that we had started that we wanted to wrap up by the end of the year.
Biggest
That
one
we're
is-
paying.
That we're paying out,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. I just want to make sure this, and I don't want the public to think like we're just writing off
Oh,
something,
yeah, no.
writing off stuff.
No.
Okay.
We did the pressure reducer valve on
Okay.
over by T-Henners.
Very good.
Fuel sales for May were 92,504 gallons. So fuels have been really good due to the F-18s coming in May. They've been continuing in June.
Go Navy.
Yeah.
Maybe they can get their aircraft carriers out here. We can fuel them.
That would be
Oh,
nice.
they're nuclear. aren't they?
Yeah, they are nukes. You don't want that.
A couple new updates on the AR. We have continuous quality that we are currently working with legal as far as trying to remove them from the building and finish up this debt. We do have REM, which we had worked with on payment arrangements, but at this time, the last payment we received from him was April 28th. So we're going to,
Have you had any communications with him since?
yeah, he does come in and kind of give us updates, but he hasn't brought us in a payment. So I just wanted to make you aware of that we may need to take action. So, and then X4 has been added to the 890s.
Which we're expecting to get a payment on this week.
And then the final sheet is the gym update as far as the analysis for May. Yeah, they did receive a one-time payment of $10,000 from Virgin Galactic for their employees, so.
Are they proactive on the marketing, advertising?
Yes, they have been, and they are getting a little bit more involved with spreading out a little bit more beyond the airport. So they've continued to increase members every month. June, I think, will be a good month overall, but they did offer a free month membership during their grand opening. So we'll probably see revenue dip a little bit in June, but members increase, so we'll present that at a later date. But yes, they're getting a lot more involved with marketing outside the airport.
Thank you very much. Are there any further questions? All right, CEO report.
Okay, I have a number of items to discuss, and on some of these, I'll just kind of make a mention, unless there's anything more specific the board wants to question on some of these items. So the intent of a lot of these discussion items is to bring them back to the board August 1st or August 15th. Those are the next upcoming board meetings. The one item that's not mentioned here that we'll probably end up bringing back to the board is a consulting agreement with a consultant that's doing some pavement analysis for us. So they've done some preliminary work already that I've approved. We'll probably continue to engage them on doing some additional analysis, so that may come up August 1st as well, if we can get through scope of work with them by then. So on discussion items, one of the things that's going to come back during the August 1st meeting is some bids for the event center parking lot. This was mentioned a couple months ago. We're required to pave it. It's a county requirement. So we're in the process of collecting bids. I think Kevin expects the bids to be back and opened next week.
25th.
Okay, so we'll have that to present August 1st. Another thing that we'll hopefully have a little bit more information on is the perimeter road improvement. So this was also set aside in the budget to do some paving ultimately of the perimeter road. We've come across another option, which we're hoping is a feasible option because it's much less expensive than asphalt. So we're going through some analysis right now. We've done some core samples or some boring around that perimeter road to get some data back on the soils just to see what options we have. So that's going to come up again August 1st. We have an opportunity potentially to do some paving behind this building. So one of the challenges we're really running into is we've got a lot of employees working in this area and not nearly enough parking. So I've engaged a firm to come up with some kind of a design to pave this area back here, which would satisfy our building, Scales 75, Explorers building, Northrop, FTA, TSC. It would satisfy a lot of customers in that area where it's really tight. There's just not enough parking available. So we'll come back with some bids, hopefully August 1st, otherwise it'll be August 15th, to see whether the board has an appetite to pay for some paving in that area.
Have we thought about doing what a lot of people are doing, especially in Lancaster, and that's putting in covered parking with solar
Yep,
panels?
Jason's looking at that also. In fact,
Cool.
we're looking at that specifically in this area where
That'd be
we
a good
remove
area.
solar panels.
What about combining the two pavement projects together?
The event center? So we looked into that, and it seems like there's really not a lot of cost savings to mobilize. So the firm that's done some work out here recently, or that will be doing some work, is Kern Asphalt. They're just at Bakersfield. So we'll bid those two separate projects, and that's basically the feedback we've gotten from them. So
Don't we have a lot of grind around here piled up?
yeah.
Several years ago, Cal City, as I recall, got some kind of a deal where they were using that grind, and there's some company came in and they mixed it with oil and put it on some of their roads. I don't know whether that's possible or feasible. I was thinking mainly of the perimeter roads.
We, possibly. The problem with the perimeter roads is they constantly washboard when the heavy trucks drive on them. So
You need
until
something
we,
really good
yeah,
out
yeah, that's a real problem with them. Especially the boneyard, like they're really tearing up the roads. Not deliberately, but just with all the heavy trucks that
Yeah.
are driving back there all the time. I'm gonna save one of these discussion items, in the event Director Parker, is able to make it here. So I'll skip over the Mojave Unified School District. Regarding the bylaws, so we're getting to the point now where we're drafting policies that we can add to the bylaws. So the bylaws were approved a few months back. Scott has drafted 2 policies on ethics and rules for board meetings, and those are the 2, ethics and then rules for board meetings. So our suggestion is that the directors take these policies back, read through them. We'd like to bring them back for a vote and adoption on August 1st, unless you feel like you need a little bit more time to review. But they're in your packet to read through and consider. Another thing to consider is this changing our policy on health benefits. So I tried to summarize this the best I could. Basically, we have what we currently have right now, and this is the reason that our unfunded liability continues to grow so much. The retirement benefits for personnel are pretty generous in terms of health. We'd like to scale that back a little bit. And so we're getting some feedback from CalPERS on a different option. And there is a vesting schedule which should be attached here as well for you to read through, just to get an idea of what an example of what the vesting schedule would look like. So basically what it means is an employee would have to be in the CalPERS system for a minimum of 10 years in order to get any health benefit on retirement. The way it is today, the minimum is 5 years. And really the minimum is 5 years in the CalPERS system. So if you work for a CalPERS agency for 4 years and 6 months, and then work for Mojave or Spaceport for 6 months, we're on the hook. If that makes sense.
I was wondering.
Okay, so this is something that I'm very motivated to adopt if the board.
Communicate and act around others in a job atmosphere. So I think the students would just eat this up. I think the class would be full all the time. And then you have the added bonus if these kids get jobs right out of high school, you know, making a working wage and getting their foot in the door in a company like Scaled or Virgin Galactic or any of these would be fantastic.
Well, you stimulate the interest with the Intermediate Space Challenge, and you build that excitement up, and this would carry right into that. Hey, when I get in high school, I'm taking these classes because I want to be a part of this industry. And I believe it's the future of this world and this country. We're going to space. It's just going to be a part of our society.
Yeah, by the way, finding qualified employees is, I'm finding out that Current Economic Development Corporation and other, it's a national problem. On this diversification study that we're working on with the county and DOD, one of the facilitators, the contractor, said Boston is having problems like that. You know, that's a city with a couple of major universities in this country. So it is, and you know, and then legalizing marijuana isn't going to help it too much.
And then on the flip side, one other thing to mention is this is our last week for our 2 Percones Fellows.
Oh.
So I just wanted to call attention to Jasmine and Haley, who've had quite a few experiences out here, and just wanted to thank them for their time and hope it was valuable to them.
Yeah, I'd actually like to say something.
Stand up.
We have time. First of all, I would like, on behalf of Jasmine and I, to say thank you to the board and everybody here at Mojave for taking a chance and letting 2 interns come out here. I know it was something that you guys all had to consider to allow us to come out here, and this has been an experience of a lifetime. For me specifically, this is what I want to do when I graduate next May. So getting here, seeing this opportunity and seeing how you guys run things out here, and also seeing all of your tenants, the activities they're doing here. I've had the opportunity to tour Scaled, Strato, and VG, and the National Test Pilot School. I know Jasmine worked closely with them. Just getting us close to these opportunities where it's happening has been so eye-opening on so many different levels. To kind of come out of the classroom, to kind of come from that environment where we got exposed to like measuring with tape measure and stuff, those very basic skills, and to come and see it actually applied has been really refreshing for me as I'm looking to the future, and then also kind of humbling. So as part of the program, Brooke did a lot of her flight out here, was very close, did all of her check rides out here, I believe. So we just got back from Washington, D.C., where they held a summit for us. So 36 Brooke Owens Fellows and all the founders and some mentors, we got together and just kind of had a celebration of Brooke in her honor, and then kind of networked and got to see other opportunities within space. So thank you again. And then I also wanted to brag for you guys. You guys have an amazing CEO here. Karina is wonderfully connected within the space industry. Just her experience that she's been able to impart on Jasmine and I has been amazing, to have just casual conversations with her, and then also to have her connect us with other people in the industry, for her to share her knowledge has been awesome. And I really, really hope you guys continue to keep this program here or expand it to other programs. So.
By the way, that CEO was an intern here too.
Yes. Years ago.
So see where you can go?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Remember to report back every once in a while and let us know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Haley and Jasmine are both very impressive young ladies, and they've done some great stuff for us here this summer, so really appreciate their time they spend here.
Remind us where each of you are going back to.
I'll be returning to Emery Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach to study spaceflight operations.
Jasmine.
And I'll be returning to Tuskegee University down in Tuskegee, Alabama as a mechanical engineer.
Great.
All right. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Did you get to see the coyote on the runway this morning?
I heard the call that where he was running through, but I did not get to see him.
Yeah,
He was gone by then.
It There's a rover just ahead of me.
Followed by Matthew Truck. So, we have no board committees. Are there any director comments? No director comments. I have one director comment. Given much of the stuff that we have going on here at the airport and the necessary relationships that are involved, I think it may be time that we go have a visit with the congressmen and our senators on 2 or 3 topics. I don't know how the board members feel about that,
I agree.
but
Yeah.
I think on their turf. And we can discuss that more in detail later, but I think that's something that we need to start looking forth between now and the end of the year.
I suggested to your CEO that we get the new ordinance senator, Kamala Harris. She's been doing a lot of visiting up down the San Joaquin Valley.
That's my only.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a response from her staff at this point.
Yeah, good.
Thank you very much. Is there any public comment today? If there is not, then I'm sorry, go ahead, sir. You have to move quick here.
Yes.
I move along, so you have to move quick.
Yeah, Lynn invited me to come in and make a quick announcement. We have a group called the Mojave Makers. It's a, we have a workshop on the airport on, is it Roper Street by the Napa Service Center. It's a complete machine shop with a mill, lathe, automotive equipment, everything. And we're trying to drum up membership. It's $50 a month for full access to the shop. Also, our president and secretary are working with the school district on some educational programs, work with the high school. So if you're trying to set up a training program, I think we should get plugged into this, the Mojave Makers group, because we could assist with that too, with our facilities and members.
Where's the location?
It's building 141.
It was mentioned at the school board meeting as well that, you know, that we have a partnership with the Makers. You guys were on our campus for a while.
Right.
Before they moved back over here.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Susie Clipperton will be getting with you. And we're trying to form a committee currently with Karina and our staff at the school district and the key players out here on the airport to meet at least quarterly to get this thing going and to have it ready, up and running by fall of next year, for next year's school year, to actually have a class and a curriculum then. So I'm sure Susie Clipperton will be getting with you on that as well.
Why don't you tell us about some of the equipment that you've got out there? You mentioned it's playing crazy.
Okay, well, let me pass out some flyers here so you can see them. Pass those out. We've got, oh.
You want one?
Huh?
Do you want his flyer?
You wanted one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, so we have a Bridgeport milling machine, a lathe with screw cutting capabilities. We have welding equipment, wide range of electronics gear for working on electronics, automotive tools, plus basic plumbing and electrical, like for household repairs. Just about anything. And we just acquired a 3D printer too. It's a basic one, but it's good for learning about 3D printing.
Great.
Are you in need of any other equipment?
What's that?
Are you in need of any other equipment that's...
Well, if anybody...
All's good, but I'm just, is there a specific need right now?
Not right now that we know of, but if anybody has anything they'd want to provide, we'd consider it, whether we have space and the use for it.
Super. Thank you very much.
Sir, could I get your name again?
Brandon Larson.
Thank you.
Is that S-E-N or S-O-N?
O-N.
O-N.
It was E-N until my great-grandfather got through Ellis Island.
Okay.
That's funny, I'm a Larson, my mother's a Larson, and it was O until they changed it.
Oh.
You never know. All right, is there any other public comment? All right, we'll move to closed session now. Thank you very much.